Yo, what's up, guys? Alex here, and I figured I would just go live for a little bit. We got college basketball games on and see if there's any profitable bets out there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look through the lines. So I have a bunch of sports books selected for the location I'm in. So you can see, like in New York, I think the legal sports books, it looks like there's 20-ish of them. Prize Picks, Resorts World, Sleeper, Thrive Fantasy, DraftKings, FanDuel, right? So different states, different books. So in New York, it looks like there's 21. And then if we flip over to, Iowa, I guess as an example, what we can see is there's a different number of sports books. So how many are there? Well, now I need to do this and then this. So there's 16 in Iowa. So long story short, different locations have different books. So, really the point of giving out plays, obviously a lot of us use Prize Picks, a lot of us use some of these same books, but really the point is also just to kind of show you how to bet on sports, how I bet on sports, how sharp bettors think about sports betting, and finding value in the market. So I'm going to go ahead and select Prize Picks 5-6 flex. I'll add in Bovada right here, and we'll get going, and we'll start finding some bets. So again, typically all I do in terms of my settings on OddsJam is I just select the sports books I'm using, and then I set the max odds to plus 190, right? That's really the only thing I do when I'm using the positive EV tool. And this tool is typically what I start on when I'm looking for value. So when I'm looking for profitable plays, and if we just want to see Prize Picks plays, we can unselect sports books, or I can just say, okay, let's set max odds to minus 119. Right. So minus 119 is the odds that you're getting in a 5 flex. So we've gone through this a bunch of times. What's up, guys? So we've gone through this a bunch of times, but I got the wine right here, but let me just share the spreadsheet in here as well. So if I go ahead and copy this, anyone who, ends up watching this, this is kind of the spreadsheet breaking down the math behind Prize Picks. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? So long story short, let's start looking for some plays on Prize Picks. So it looks like the best one available is Zach Collins under 14.5 points, right? Why do we like it? Again, it's the same reason you should always like a bet. There's value, there's an edge. It really is that simple. I mean, people love to overcomplicate sports betting and, talk for a bunch of different reasons about things that don't make sense and why this isn't a good bet or whatever. But you can see I ended up taking it. Collins under 14.5 points. I gave this out earlier on Twitter. But why do we like it, right? Look at the odds on, other sports books. It's like kind of the first thing you notice is like, okay, most books are pricing this around minus 145. So obviously Underdog isn't a sports book, so it doesn't really count. So FanDuel has this minus 158, BetMGM minus 125. So FanDuel is obviously more aggressive. They're more bullish on the under than BetMGM is. Caesars has this minus 142, DraftKings minus 145, Pinnacle minus 149, and then PointsBet, they only have odds on the over because this is an alternate market. So if we just want to go ahead and click into the odds, and again, it's free to browse odds on OddsJam, just like this view, any sports you want to look at, kind of the core of sports betting, right, is finding value in the market. So line shopping, ensuring you're on different books, right? You're always getting the best line. It's essential if you want to make money sports betting, right? If you're placing bets on, Blake Wesley, whoever that guy is, over 7.5 points at minus 115 on BetMGM, right? When you could be getting plus 105 on DraftKings, you're getting 20 cents worse, right? You're getting ripped off. So you're never going to make money if you only have BetMGM and you're just randomly picking things, right? It doesn't matter how well you think you know sports. If you're playing this at minus 115, you just got ripped off. There's $2 billion companies, major sports books, offering plus 104 and plus 105. You got a horrible price on BetMGM, right? And I mean, it's like being an investor, right? Imagine if you wanted to be a savvy investor, make money in investing. You wanted that to be your career path, but you have to buy everything at a 20% increase. You have to pay 20% more for everything. You're never going to make money. It's too hard. You're at a disadvantage. And it's kind of the same thing here where if you're only betting on BetMGM and placing bets like this at minus 115, when other books are offering plus 105, plus 104, you're screwed. So if we go over to the Zach Collins play, what you're going to see is like, damn, some books have his line at 13.5, right? Bet Online has his under 13.5 favored, right? So does PointsBet. PointsBet and Bet Online, they both have the under 13.5 points at minus 125 and minus 120 respectively. Minus 125 here on Bet Online, minus 120 here on PointsBet. So on Prize Picks, we're getting a full point better, right? We're getting the under, so we want an extra point of value, right? Like we're taking Collins under 14.5 and getting minus 119 when Bet Online is giving you under 13.5, which is a full point worse at minus 125. And again, the point isn't, you need Bet Online Sportsbook. The point is you're looking at all these books and where they're posting odds. They're all prices, right? All these books are setting lines. They're telling you what they think the line should be set at. These books invest millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. They're taking bets and moving around lines due to supply and demand. So when you have a bunch of sports books all telling you the same thing, hey, any books with the line at 14.5 have the under heavily favored around minus 150-ish, right? Or some books even have his line a full point lower, like Bet Online and PointsBet with the under favored. Like you don't need to pay for anything. You don't need odds jam. You just look through the market and it's like, dang, being able to get this under 14.5 at minus 119 seems pretty good, considering Bet Online, a really sharp offshore sports book, is giving me 6 cents worse on the under 13.5, right? So you're using all this real-time market information. Like Bet Online has the line at 13.5 with the under favored. We're getting under 14.5 at better odds, right? We're taking under 14.5 and Bet Online has the under 13.5 favored, which makes us think the under 14.5 is even better, right? So we're using all this data, right? Just real-time price data. All these sports books are putting out prices, right? Prices, odds. So long story short, Bulls money line, it looks like lines are ripping towards the Bulls. 8:10 start time. Every other book has them around minus 140. Can we pick up the Bulls real quick? Let's go over to DraftKings. We can see Bulls minus 125. Let's go. Let's see if they take this bet. So I also logged into a few of my sportsbook accounts, Underdog. And again, I say this all the time, but more books is better, right? Like you want to have as many books as possible. So cool. We have the Bulls line up minus 125. So I've done a lot of talking. My first bet placed. I'll hit it. I'm literally just showing you guys things I bet on. Obviously put my money where my mouth is. This is the bet I just hit. Bulls minus 125. Game starts, approximately right now. So why do we like it? Well, DraftKings was clearly asleep at the wheel. I don't know why, if lines rip towards the Bulls late or something, or if there was an injury update. I mean, lines can move for a ton of reasons, right? It's like the price of a stock. Does anyone know why the stock market went up or down today? It can be a lot of different reasons, right? And it's same thing with line movement in sports betting. Maybe a key player for the Timberwolves is out. So lines started moving towards the Bulls. You can see Pinnacle has them at frickin' minus 145. Really tight market too, right? Like you can see here, the sharper offshore sports books like Pinnacle, they have a lot tighter markets. So here they only have a 14-cent spread. Whereas if you look at other books, like let's say, Bet Any Sports, a lot of these other books are 20, 25-cent spreads here on Bet Rivers. So the sharper books, the more efficient betting markets, like Pinnacle, they tend to have lower VIG, lower spreads, right? Less juice baked into their markets because they're more efficient betting markets. So long story short on Prize Picks, what looks good right now? It's Nurkic to make a 3, which I'm pretty sure we already took. So if I go back here, didn't I already take him to make a 3. That looks good. Vanderbilt under 8.5 points. Nurkic over 8.5 rebounds, which I also gave out on Twitter. And Kendrick Davis under 2.5 made threes. So you can't bet on college basketball player props. So great. I already had a loss here with Jordan Hawkins. But you can't bet college basketball player props in a lot of locations, but you can in some states. So I was able to place this earlier, but now I can't, right? So I'm located in New York right now, so I can't bet on this, but you can see why do we like it on Prize Picks? It's always the same concept. I mean, again, it's like sometimes simplicity is beautiful, and there's a lot of math you can learn about sports betting to kind of like back out your profit margin, right? How do I calculate no vig odds? How do I calculate, under this percent column, this is called your edge or your profit margin. So we have a bunch of videos, I've done 20, 25-minute videos breaking down how to calculate your edge, right? How do you get your recommended bet size, right? Bankroll management. So I've done videos on that as well. But kind of the key concept of sports betting is really simple, but really beautiful at the same time. Is, find value in the market. You're literally like an investor. You're like a day trader, right? And what's crazy about sports betting is you literally have, so if I switch this to say, a different state. So, well, this game just started, so it may be less clear, but you have dozens of sports books, right? All setting lines on the exact same player props, right? It's kind of crazy, right? Like, you're never going to get this in really any other market. Like, for example, I give this example a lot, but if you wanted to buy Bitcoin right now, it's 27.4K. It's not like on Coinbase, you're going to be able to get it for $26,000 at a huge discount. Like, these things don't happen, right? Like, it's only sports betting where books set lines independently, where you get massive differences in price between bookmakers. So the simplest, easiest way to make money is you literally just find value in the market, right? So here, all books are pricing, Davis's under. So they all have the under heavily favored. BetMGM minus 135, DraftKings minus 140, BetOnline minus 137, Pinnacle, a very sharp offshore sportsbook, minus 162. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 data points telling us, hey, the line should be about minus 145, right? We're getting minus 119 in a 5 flex. If you've gone through the math or seen the videos I've done where I break out the math, you're getting minus 119 odds in a flex. So, well, that's not right. So, well, this is because your EV number is different. So this needs to be, there we go, something like that. So this is your break even, right? Like if you were hitting 54% of your picks, long story short, on Prize Picks in a 6 flex. So you go to Prize Picks, right? If you can select overs and unders correctly, 54% of the time in your 6 flexes, you will break even. Most people can't do that, right? Most people only win, can guess overs and unders. Of course, a player always goes over or under, right? Like this guy, Williams, is always going over or he's going under. It's really that simple, right? He's always going over or under. So, most bettors, they can't win or make decisions on their picks and win over 50% of them, right? So 50% in a 6 flex would mean your ROI is negative 33%. So you can kind of play with these numbers, but literally the difference between winning 50% of your picks, because you have 6 picks, right? So winning 50% of your picks in a 6 flex, and all the math's right here, you can go through it. If you win 50% of your picks in a 6 flex, so you have no advantage over the books, you're basically like a monkey blindly selecting overs and unders. You have no advantage in knowing if DeAndre Williams is more likely to go over or under. You're going to have an ROI of negative 33%, right? If you can hit 54.2%, now you're going to break even. So your goal is, of course, find plays where you're getting value at minus 119. So you're winning your plays over 54.2% of the time, right? So we can increase this max odds again. So, that's kind of sports betting 101, but damn, Purdue game's tied. Pretty crazy. But, another easy little hack to making money, sports betting is just make sure you're on the lookout for these promos, like promos in general. So opt in to receive a 64% profit boost on a 4-leg parlay between March 16th and March 17th. Okay. So a 64% profit boost, like, Opt in and get one daily profit boost to use on any market in a college basketball game. So this is crazy, right? Like Caesars is basically giving you, free money for betting on college basketball. And a lot of people, they're like, no, like this sounds too good to be true. If this promo were profitable, why would Caesars give it out? And it's like, well, that's a good point, but you have to remember they're competing against FanDuel, who's offering tons of promos. I mean, you can see here they have a tab for all their promos, right? So it's like, restaurants giving out free appetizers or whatever to try to draw people in. If Caesars offers these really profitable promos because they want to keep people coming in, right? So Creighton plus 1.5, that is currently positive EV. That's a profitable play, right? Caesars has minus 110. Pinnacle only 15 cents in width. They're pricing this at minus 125. So what we can do is we can be like, okay, like maybe we place one of our so Creighton plus 1.5. Do I get any boost here? Nope. So I'm not sure if too many games have started for me to even take advantage of these promos, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not true. So like these promos, a 64%, profit boost. I've explained this before, but like a 64% profit boost, literally if you're blindly selecting any bets, is going to be profitable. Like a 64% boost is a lot. The typical VIG on a sports book, or the typical, profit margin the book tries to charge, is 4 to 5%. 4 to 5%. So if you're getting a 64% boost and the book is charging in general VIG of around 4 to 5%, this promo is still extremely profitable, extremely, extremely profitable. So what you can do, and of course, there's also a time trade-off, like checking these books every day. I mean, there's tens of thousands of dollars you can make just doing these profitable promos consistently. So what you can do, though, if you really want to maximize the value of these promos, is, of course, you can check the EV page. Are there any profitable bets on Caesars? Whatever. But regardless, you just want to make sure you take advantage of them. Again, it's just a really profitable promo. So what we can do is you can like go here, and then we can be like, okay, let's see if there's anywhere where, we're getting a decent price or decent odds on William Hill. So William Hill's the same as Caesars. So you're going to notice like, these odds are always the same. So Caesars has the line at 140, which is the best line you can get. I mean, a lot of books have the total at 139.5, and we're getting under 140, right? So we're getting half a point of value. So maybe that's the first play we want to include, right? So, just kind of line shopping, following the data, looking for value in the market to kind of maximize our profit margin. So what play was this? Montana State versus Kansas State. Okay. And I wanted to bet under 140. And it's like, so you can, pick this, right? And maybe that's a play you want to go with decent value. And this is free on OddsJam, right? It's free to browse odds. So anyone can do this. I'm literally just kind of looking through the market for value. Here it's like, okay, the best odds you can get on Indiana is on Caesars, minus 180. DraftKings, BetMGM, WinBet all have this minus 195, minus 200-ish. Seems pretty good, right? So let's go ahead and let's get some Indiana. Where are they? So, I already included it. Or Indiana versus Kent State. So it's like, okay, take them minus 180. And you can do this for every play. I mean, at this point, I'm just going to blindly kind of select two bets. I mean, again, there's a time trade-off. Like this promo is really profitable, but of course you don't want to waste all day kind of trying to find value on it. So if we look at Florida Atlantic Memphis, okay, we're getting the best price on Florida Atlantic. So maybe we end up taking their money line, right? Caesars is giving you the same odds as Bovada. They're offering the best price on Florida Atlantic money line. So, I'm a completely data-driven sports bettor. Some people will be like, yo, you didn't analyze the matchups. You didn't do all this complicated stuff. It's like, look, I don't have all day, I'm just trying to find some value in the market to take advantage of this extremely profitable promo, right? It's not like it's a little, so we can't bet both Indiana and the under 140. So maybe we just do this, whatever. And then we take our bonus, 64%. That's crazy, right? So you're going to see here, we're going from getting a payout of 119.06 to 188.86. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it, right? So long story short, even as a low bankroll bettor, these promos, like this is ridiculously profitable. The average sportsbook charges 4 to 5%. Caesars is offering this to try to get you hooked on their platform, to try to get you on Caesars tonight. And sure, they're giving you a $10 promo that's very profitable, right? And again, here's what I went with. So sure, they're giving us a $10 promo that's very profitable, but what they hope is people pay it back, right? Sportsbooks know off the average customer, they make $1,000, $2,000 a year, which is approximately correct. So they don't really care, right? They give you a $10 free bet here and there. Like these are loss leaders for them. It's a marketing tool to keep people coming back to their platform, right? Like if DraftKings gives most bettors a $10 free bet and then they bet $500 extra over the course of a few months, they make that back through the VIG, through the spread, right? So as a sharp bettor, we're like, okay, well, we're not going to be complete degenerates, but we're going to, find value and take advantage of it. So, if there's profitable promos, that's oftentimes the easiest way to make money. So here you can see a good play, right? You can get the Mariners money line plus 130. You can see every other book has this plus 110, plus 117. So let me log back into FanDuel. And again, I know it seems like a simple strategy, but it really is just, it really is that simple. Finding value in the market. Because again, what's so crazy about sports betting is, there's a lot of books in Texas. I mean, you have Underdog, Prize Picks, Bovada, Bet Online, Bet US. And if anyone has questions or whatever, you can feel free to email me. I don't know what this means, but they're literally like basically the same odds. It's minus 118.4 versus minus one. I think this is minus 118.6 approximately, or 118.6 over 218.6. I mean, literally, they're basically exactly the same. So I have no idea what you mean by disingenuous. That's a big word, but completely incorrect. Literally the same odds. But anyways, let's keep going through. So I logged back into FanDuel. Let's go ahead and let's hit the Mariners bet. So logged into FanDuel now. Looks like there's really good value on Simons over 3.5 assists. So again, you never know where the value is going to be on a given day, which is why, I typically recommend have as many books as you can, right? Like if you don't have DraftKings, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this down. Like I say this a lot, but you really do have to move quickly to get in on the best betting opportunities. So here, 3.5 plus 135, recheck location. Like these books are always trying to check your location. So long story short, more books means more opportunity. It really is that simple. You don't need a ton of books. So they're going to give me, and this is the downside. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't believe that you can make money sports betting. And it's like, well, this is kind of one of the flaws, right? It's why sports betting is a great side hustle, but it's really hard to make $1 million off of every sports book every year. Is these books can ultimately limit your bet sizes. So the game is kind of rigged where you'll notice if I go to some random alternate spread and try to bet Maybe they will take 1,500, but you're going to see here for an alternate spread on Arizona State plus 3.5, DraftKings is going to say, we don't want your action. We're only going to give you 79.51. So making money sports betting is actually very easy, right? Literally finding value in the market, finding plays with an edge. Like this plays clear as day. FanDuel plus 100, Bet Online, like no other book even giving you above plus 105. DraftKings is an arbitrage opportunity to both FanDuel and Bet Online and Bovada. So again, if you're not familiar with arbitrage just means risk-free money. Like this is actually how I started out sports betting and made probably my like a big percentage of first year profits was arbitrage betting. And all it is it's basically taking advantage of differences in sportsbook odds. So here, let's see if it moved. Well, it didn't move yet, but this would be a perfect example. Is you could get Thibault over 8.5 points at plus 174. Right? And then on Caesars, the under 8.5 points, so these are equal and opposite outcomes, is minus 127. Right? So essentially, all you're doing is you're betting equal and opposite outcomes and making a risk-free profit due to discrepancies in bookmaker odds. And it seems too good to be true. But again, first of all, it's time intensive. It's not passive income. And then the second thing is what I just showed is bookmakers ultimately, they don't allow you to bet $1 million. I mean, I've been betting on sports since the day sports betting launched in this country. And well before that on books like Bovada. But regardless, so I'm very familiar with these sports books, using FanDuel for now, I guess, 5 years now. But these books, they don't give you unlimited amounts of money. Like if I want to bet Jokic, let's say Aaron Gordon first basket, let's see how much they'd give me. They give me $62.50 on FanDuel. So you can still make money, right? But it just doesn't scale up in a way that it really makes sense to, long story short, you can make good money doing it. I still love sports betting and make good money from it, but it's not something, that you'd want to do full time probably. It's kind of a good side hustle. Like keep this odds jam on at work and you find plays like this. Thibault to record a block, you're getting minus 106 on FanDuel. So let's actually just hit this play. So this play is kind of interesting because it's an example of a play that would not show up on the positive EV page. So player defense, Thibault to record a block. So it looks like the odds move. FanDuel moves odds very frequently. So it looks like they moved it to minus 125, which looks worse. But the point is whenever arbitrage exists, like right here, right, you can bet on him to get a block at minus 106, betting 106 to win back 100 on FanDuel. And you can bet him to not get a block at plus 129, betting 100 to win $129 on Caesars. So massive discrepancies in odds. So essentially, OddsJam is just, scanning literally tens of thousands of odds from each game every second to try to find these rare few like all these alternate lines. These sports books aren't perfect, right? They're not that big of companies. They don't have that many employees. So sometimes they screw up. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. FanDuel wants their odds to be unique. They screw up occasionally, and sharp bettors will tee off on plays like this and hammer the minus 106. But at the end of the day, when 99.9% of your customers are dipshits, placing like big parlays that aren't going to win and are burning cash, you don't need to be perfect, right? These sportsbooks don't need to hire more people because most bettors, again, they don't understand the math and stuff like that. So it's okay if sportsbooks screw up occasionally, which is essentially, how all books operate. It's why arbitrage still exists. It's why positive EV still exists and stuff like that. Is you can make a lot of money off the books. It's just, most Americans aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, and most bettors, aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. So books are able to, basically take advantage of people who don't understand how to bet on sports. Really that simple. But there's a lot of opportunity for sharp bettors who understand the math, understand markets. So whenever arbitrage exists, it's like, okay, whenever an arbitrage opportunity exists, so some of these sports books you may not use, but here we have one with Thibault rebounds. So it looks like it may have just moved. So, you got to be quick to get down some of these. Same with EV plays, but whenever arbitrage exists, so this is actually an example of a play I gave out on Twitter. Whenever an arbitrage opportunity exists, right, you could hypothetically, you can't actually on Prize Picks because you can't bet one-way markets. Like you can't only take 80 over 29.5 points plus assists. But, right, arbitrage means you can bet the over, you can bet the under in most cases here, I guess between FanDuel and Pinnacle, right? If you had both accounts, so I think Pinnacle is in Ontario, it's legal, and so is FanDuel. So if you had both of these accounts, you could pull up an arbitrage calculator, place bets on both the over on FanDuel, the under on Pinnacle, and make a risk-free profit due to massive discrepancies in odds, right? That odds jam is pointing out for you, and you would make a risk-free profit. So one of these plays has to be profitable, right? You can't have, if you bet on two sports books, equal and opposite outcomes, you make a risk-free profit, but neither play is profitable, right? One of these bets, either the over on FanDuel at minus 111 or the under at plus 112 is a profitable bet. It's kind of like if you went to a baseball card store and they're like, we want to buy this Barry Bonds card. Or better example, it's kind of like if you could go to Fidelity and buy Bitcoin for $25,000, and then you could go to E-Trade and sell it for $28,000. It just doesn't make sense, right? You can buy it for 25, you can sell it for 28. It's a market inefficiency, and it's called arbitrage, right? It's a financial term. So odds jam, out of the millions of odds kind of across sports books, when you sync all these together, and odds jam, has all these crazy markets that sports books offer, like points, rebounds, assists, points plus assists. All these things are on odds jam. So odds jam is just pointing out like, here's an arbit. So like, here's a perfect example. We have Derek White over 18.5 points plus assists. It's an arbitrage opportunity between Pinnacle, Prize Picks and FanDuel. So we know one of these plays has to be profitable. You dig into the odds, and it's like, okay, well, there's only two sports books posting odds, which is strange. So if we go to White, so sometimes players get injured or whatever. Like you'll see Jock Market has his line at 19. FanDuel has his main line at 20.5, but they have his alternate line at 18.5. So we know one of these plays has to be profitable. We just don't know which one. So it is though a little weird that there's that lack of sports books or that few sports books posting odds. So if we go to White, so now you can see there's more. You have Clutch Bet, who has his line at 19.5 at minus 130 for this weird market, points plus assists. So do I know anything about Derek White? No, I don't care, right? I know Prize Picks has him at 18.5. That's not right. I know Prize Picks has him at 18.5. I know every other book is pricing him 19.5 or 20.5 or 19. So Prize Picks is too low, right? Bovada has him at 20.5. We're getting 2 points of value on Prize Picks, and we're getting better odds. We're getting minus 119. And Bovada has the over 20.5 at minus 125. So this play's freaking crazy, right? So again, never know where the value is going to be. So we want to go here and we want to go to White. Right? So the arbitrage tool, most people use it to just literally make risk-free money. Like, I'm going to bet the over, I'm going to bet the under, and I'm going to make a risk-free profit. This play is crazy. So we got to find some plays to pair. Smart over 18.5 PRAs. Here looks like another one. So what we can do is we can actually go here. So Smart PRAs. Well, so we wouldn't want to take Marcus Smart points, rebounds, assists with Derek White over in points plus assists, right? They're on the same team, so they kind of compete for points and assists. So I don't know what went on here. Maybe, lineups, injury news in the game. Maybe Tatum isn't playing. I mean, who knows? So then we want points plus assists. We want Davis over. That's still good. So it looks like they're going to let me bet this. So I'm going to cancel that because I need 5 picks, right? We always want to be placing a 5 flex. Otherwise, the value goes away. So we don't want Smart because, again, they play on the same team. So that would be negatively correlated. So what we want to do is just be like, okay, now let's go to the EV tool. We have 2 picks we found on the arbitrage tool. So let's go to the EV tool. And the EV tool is definitely the easiest to use. Like, if you don't care about sports betting that much and all this complicated arbitrage and markets, like, literally just hitting the bet in bold with a circle around it is profitable. So like these plays in green and bold, you just hit them for the books you use. This is the simplest tool by far to use on OddsJam. All the other concepts kind of we discussed about arbitrage and whatever, I guess are kind of higher level. Like you don't need to know any of this stuff to bet on sports. You can just use the tool and hit the bet in green and in bold and you'll be fine. But just kind of for the people who are curious about the math, the process, whatever. So here, this is interesting. Lines are clearly moving towards Memphis, right? So we just bet them plus 110 on Caesars for our promo. But now you can see their positive EV, or Memphis is. We took Florida Atlantic plus 110 for the promo. So a lot of people would be like, oh, you're contradicting yourself. It's like, I'm not contradicting myself. I can just see Bookmaker, Bet Online, and Pinnacle, probably three of the sharpest bookmakers out there, along with Circa, are all pricing this around minus 130-ish, minus 125, minus one, on Bovada, it's minus 130. We're getting minus 113 on FanDuel. Seems like pretty good value, right? So it really is that simple. Math doesn't lie, which is kind of why, OddsJam is such a great product, or why I like sports betting, how I bet on sports, because I don't know much about sports. I don't care much about sports. I simply follow the data because the data is foolproof, right? When we have dozens of sports books all telling us a line should be set at minus 125 and we're getting it minus 113, and all of these books have very tight widths, right? And we're getting close to game time, so the betting limits are high, right? These markets are efficient. It's a no-brainer play. So I went ahead and locked in Memphis. Anyways, you can keep going through. So Jock Market is a new Prize Picks competitor. What's optimal is playing the 5-pick entries, just like Prize Picks. 5-pick flex on Prize Picks, but I haven't signed up yet, so I'm going to remove it. But again, not having this sports book just means I lost a really profitable play. I would love to play Lillard over 6.5 assists on Prize Picks, but this line isn't on Prize Picks. It's only on Jock Market, but the same concepts apply, right? FanDuel has this minus 160, Bet Rivers minus 150, BetMGM minus 135, MyBookie minus 250, right? So you look at all the data points in the market, it's very clear that minus 119 is great price, great odds. So then it's just kind of like, okay, like we have 2 plays on Prize Picks, but I never want to force a play, if there's no value. Another thing to mention is like you can't forget these reward points on sportsbooks. Like I literally barely use DraftKings. You saw they limit me to like $50, but just betting on them a few times per week, I get these, gold coins that turn into 1960. That's going to pay for dinner and a freaking, 6-pack of Bud Light. So redeem that for money. And it's the same thing with Caesars, right? Like you can go to Caesars and then it's like, okay, reward credits, redeem. I have 1,000 reward credits. I haven't even been in town this week and they're just going to give me $10 free. So like there's an added benefit, right, of being a sharp bettor, because the sports books, they offer these loyalty programs that are just based on how much you bet, not how profitable you are, which doesn't make sense. But again, these sports books are casinos, most of them. That's their bread and butter. So they're used to more money bet on slots. Slots is a game you can't beat. The more money the casino makes. So their rewards programs for sports betting are looped in to the same as the casino, even though that doesn't really make sense, because in sports betting, you can win long-term, right? Obviously you can't in slots. Like slots is not something that's beatable. But if we go here, it's like, okay, what's out there, and again, like I'll bet on any sport because it doesn't matter. The same concepts, finding value, finding plays with an edge to beat the VIG applies to any sport. So we can go to the OddsJam screen. So the screen, like the EV tool I use mainly, I started out arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting just means risk-free money. You make a lot of money doing it. You just can't be lazy. I mean, I say this all the time, but like first quarter player points. First quarter player points. So let's see if we can get this down. I mean, again, you have to move quick. So let's go to the Celtics game. So let's go to the Celtics game, right? You have to know where to go, right? So we want him over 3.5 points at plus 106. Over 3.5 at plus 106. So they're going to give me 226.40. So I can go ahead and bet this. I'll explain more in a sec. And then we want to go to Caesars, actually, is what we should be going to, considering they're plus 118. So this is a 5 point. So we hit this for 226.40. And then we want to hit the under on Caesars for 213.94. So we want to go here. Then we want to go here. And then we want to go to first quarter player props. And then we want to go to Derek White. And then we want to round it to 215 we'll do. And I literally just made, well, let's wait for Caesars to accept this bet. But I just made $26 in risk-free profit on this live stream. And I'm limited on both sports books. I'm literally the max tier of limited on FanDuel. And so sure, I couldn't bet $10,000 on this and make a risk-free profit of 1150.46, but I'm going to be making a risk-free, and it's still up. It's still available, right? We just made $25. It's 3 times the minimum wage. Like, it's fucking insane. It's really insane if you think about it. So we can go through the math very briefly, and they took the bet. So pretty crazy. But again, you never know when the best betting opportunities are going to occur. You never know when the sports books are going to slip up. FanDuel has probably 100,000 odds on their site right now. 100,000 odds. They can't keep everything in check, right? They screw up occasionally. And let's see when they move. They're still at plus 106. This is crazy. So 226.40 on the over. So over 3.5 first quarter for Derek White, right? I bet this for 226.40, right? At plus 106 odds. Plus 106 odds. So stake, odds, book, FanDuel, right? And then this is bet. And then we can do profit if win. And if we win, we're staking 226.40 at plus 106 odds. So times 1.06, right? And you can see that right here on FanDuel. 239.98. I mean, literally just numbers. Like, people always invent all their bullshit, BS ways of, oh, this is how I make money sports betting. None of it is true. I'm just showing you the data. And this is how you can make money sports betting. So it's first ARB I've hit in a bit, but we have over 3.5 first quarter for Derek White. And then we can go to the under 3.5. And then I hit this for 215 on Caesars at plus 118 odds, right? So our profit if we win is 215 times 1.18 is 253.7, right? So now there's 2 outcomes, right? What's true about arbitrage is 2 things. First of all, we're making risk-free money. We are fully hedged right now. We're going to make a risk-free profit of roughly $25. If you follow this calculator exactly, right, then your risk-free profit is going to be $26.05 regardless of what happens. Yeah, of course. So this is crazy though. So if we go here, it's like, okay, he's either going to have 4+ points in the first quarter or less, or 4, or 0 to 3 points first quarter. Like, these are equal and opposite outcomes. One bet is always going to win, one will lose. So Caesar's profit, FanDuel profit, net profit. Net profit is obviously the sum of the profit on both sports books. We placed 2 bets. So if the over cashes, so if he has 4, 5, 6, whatever, we're winning on FanDuel, so we're losing on Caesars, so we're losing our stake of $215. On FanDuel, we're up $239. We're up $24.98. Boom. Now, on the other hand, we make $253 on Caesars if he goes 0 to 3, but we lose our stake on FanDuel. We make $27.30. $25 either way. Pretty impressive. Pretty nice. Honestly, can't complain with a free $25. I really can't. So chill. So again, it's just something you have to be on top of, right? Here's one with Damian Lillard, right? Like you can see lines are moving, plays are coming, they're going away. Boom, white now down to minus 106, right? You see that right here. You're day trading sports books and making risk-free pops of 25 bucks, 25 bucks, 25 bucks. And again, what's so crazy about this is these gains, they compound, right? Like it compounds, compounds, compounds. If you have an edge, right, and you're betting on sports that day, a lot of people would be like, why would you place this bet? 0.61% edge. It's like, well, I have really high confidence that this play is good, considering every sharp bookmaker, this looks incredible to. Bet online, bookmaker, Pinnacle, this looks great, minus 124. So sure, the profit margin may be slightly lower, but this game's tonight. This game's going to be over in 3 hours. Imagine if you could earn a 1% return or 0.6% every 3 hours. People talk about the stock market 8% in a year. I'm earning 0.6% in 3 hours. It's crazy if you think about it. So I'll go ahead, I'll refresh this, see what other plays are available. Sometimes there's more value on FanDuel. Sometimes it's Prize Picks, whatever. Sometimes there's more value in the NHL. Sometimes it's NBA, right? So what you can see here is what the screen is useful for is the EV tool, right, is great. It's great. But you're always comparing lines set at the same level, right? So here, everyone has Jaime Jaquez, whatever his name is, Jaime Jaquez at over under 1.5 threes. So we're comparing the prices, right? The reason you would want to take this is FanDuel is offering great value on the over 1.5. You're getting plus 174. All the other books are around plus 150. Now, what the screen will show you is like, dang, hey, here's where books are setting the line at different levels. So typically what I do is I oftentimes look for differences between underdog and Prize Picks. And you can actually see one right here, right? Troy Terry, his line on Prize Picks is 2.5. All the sports books, it's 2.5. And on underdog, it's 3. So underdog seems too high, right? It seems like they're too high relative to the rest of the market. So you can see line movements are kind of, highlighted in red and green, whatever. But like, it's all about data, right? If Prize Picks has a line at 10, every other book has it at 9. We want to slam the under 10 on Prize Picks, right? Because now it's not all about the odds, right? Like you can imagine, imagine if we could get Jaime Jaquez, under 2.5 threes at minus 200. I would slam that. His under 1.5 threes on most books is minus 200. So if I could get the under 2.5 at minus 200, that'd be a no-brainer, right? So the screen, so in the EV tool, you're mainly, you are comparing prices when books set the line at the same level. Whereas the screen, what you're doing is the opposite. You're looking for where books mainly have the line set at different levels. And you can see lines are ripping around in this frickin', Celtics game. Something's going on. Live player props, tons of stuff. But we're looking for, where are, underdog and Prize Picks or whatever? Like, where are these books setting the line at different levels? And maybe you can get lucky sometimes. And sometimes we find crazy value. I gave out some plays earlier from the screen and explained them with crazy value. So let's hit this bet on FanDuel real quick. Well, whatever. So long story short, I know it's a Friday night. Not going to stay too long. We'll call it here, but hopefully this was helpful. Profitable promos, EV betting, risk-free money, arbitrage betting. And as always, here is my email. So Jock Market, you want to place the 5-pick entries, and it's minus 119. So hopefully this was helpful. I put my email in. You can always email me questions. Make some money. So hopefully you were able to tail some of these on Prize Picks or some other platform. But appreciate you.